Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Hope you are all well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am Shanjida Rahman, Assistant Teacher of National Ideal English Version School. Today I am going to take a science class for the student of class 6. Our today's topic is Chapter 2, reading done from page number 11 to page number 14. Now let's start our class. Our topic is Chapter 2, reading done, page number 11 to 14. Homework number 5 MCQ from this chapter. Lecture number 6. My name is Shanjida Rahman and my contact number is here. Now we go to our class. Chapter 2. The name of Chapter 2 is Living World. Okay, now we will discuss the chapter. There are different elements of environment around us. Some of them have life, some have not. What type of objects are chair, table, pen, brick and iron? Again, think about mango, jam, jackfruit, shabla, hilsha, koi, rui, cow, deer, etc. What type of objects are these? Those who have no life are non-living. Those who have life are living things or organisms. Plants, man, cattle, fish, birds, etc. are different types of living things. Algae or mushrooms are living things too. Amoeba and bacteria are very teeny organisms. Our living world is made up of numerous living things or organisms. In our previous classes like 2, 3, 4, you know that the things around us in the environment are divided into two parts, the living things and non-living things. Living things are man, deer, cow, plants, and non-living things are chair, table, bench, book. They have no life, and living things have the life. In the living things, there are many types. Some living things are very teeny, some are big, some are medium sized, some are plants, some are animals. So, we will discuss about this today. Lesson 1, main characteristic of living things. What is the main characteristic of a living things? In this chapter, we will discuss the main characteristic of living things. Plant, cuttlefish, insects, mushroom, etc. are organisms or living things. They have life. On the other hand, brick, stone, air, utensils, etc. are lifeless. Therefore, these are non-living things. Chair, table, book, pen, they are non-living things. Cat, fish, rui, cow, dog, they are living things. Now, what is the characteristic of living things? We will discuss. Main characteristic of life. Number 1, movement. Living things or organisms can move. Some living things can move from one place to another. When plant grows, its tip also moves. But can any non-living things do that? What is the meaning of this word tip? Tip is the upper, very top space of the tree which are growing and going to the upper level. This is called tip. Number 2, nutrition. Every living thing lives on food. Can a piece of stone take food? We cannot. No living things can live without food. So they need nutrition. Number 3, reproduction. Every living organism can produce its own kind. Animals have babies. Plants have saplings. Can a non-living do that? Now we will discuss what is the meaning of saplings. Sapling means small tree which are growing from the seeds of a mother plant. And no non-living things. It cannot reproduce. Now go to the excretion. Excretion. Every living organism removes waste products by a special process. This process is excretion. Elimination of urine and carbon dioxide is an excretory phenomenon or process. Does a non-living have this process? You know that every living things they pass carbon dioxide and they also pass urine and stool also. These are waste product from their body, and this system is called excretion. Number 5, sensitivity. If we are pricked by a needle, we feel pain. When bright light falls on our eyes, they get closed instantly because needle and light etc. create stimulation in our body. When we touch sensitive plants such as Lajjavati, they get contracted. But if you touch or hurt a piece of stone or brick, does it show any responses? I think many of you see that the tree Lajjavati, when you touch the leaf of this tree, they close their lips, and this is their sensitivity. When a hot or when a mosquito bite in our hand or leg, we can feel it. It's our sensitivity. Now go respiration. Number 6, respiration. Every living organism starts breathing after birth. This act of breathing is and out continuous up to death. Without respiration, no living things can live. When the respiration system stops, any living things will die. And after the birth, this respiration system continues. And also a tree also have the respiration system because they consume carbon dioxide and expel or oxygen for us. Growth. Each living organism grows gradually after birth. Does any growth take place in non-living things? No. No non-living things will grow. Number 8, adaptation. Living organisms are able to adjust and adapt themselves to their environment. An organism can adjust with the surrounding environment. Adaptation means we are living in the country of a hot weather in Bangladesh, but when we go to the Canada or North Pole, Switzerland, most of the time of the year these countries are covered with the ice. They are very cold country, and we can easily adapt in these places also. So this is called adaptation. Lesson number 2, classification of living organisms. All living things of past and present are arranged in a certain method to give a holistic but brief overview of them. This process of arrangement is classification. Biologists have tried to classify the organism from time to time. The most recent method of such classification is invented by Margulis and Whittaker in 1917. According to modern method of classification, the living world is divided into 5 kingdoms. Living world. Our living world differentiated into 5 kingdoms, and Mr. Biologist Mr. Margulis and Whittaker in 1978 they differentiated these kingdoms. Kingdom, living world, kingdom, Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Living things are divided into 5 kingdoms. Let us see what features have been considered while putting the organisms into these 5 different kingdoms. Kingdom number 1, Monera. The main feature means characteristic. The main features of these organisms are the organisms is unicellular and has no well-developed nucleus. They are too small and cannot be seen without microscope. Example are rhizobium. When you want to see the plants or animals of kingdom Monera, you have to use a microscope. Without microscope, you cannot see them because they are very tiny. And they have unicellular. Unicellular means only one cell. They have only one cell and has no well developed nucleus. Their nucleus is not properly developed. Now go to the kingdom number 2, Protista. These living organisms have well developed nucleus and they are unicellular. They also unicellular, but their nucleus is properly developed. So they are in Protista group. They can live alone or in a colony. Colony means they few like 5, 6, 7 or more than 10. They can more than 10 cells living in one place. That's why it's called colony. Examples: amoeba and euglena. Euglena. Kingdom number 3, fungi. They have well defined nucleus. They could be either unicellular or multicellular. Their bodies do not carry chlorophyll, therefore they are saprophytic. Example: yeast, mushroom, penicillium, etc. Fungi means they are well defined nucleus. Their nucleus is very developed. Nucleus is like that. Nucleus is very important part of a cell, and it is most of the cell nucleus is most of the cell have the nucleus and this is well developed nucleus. In the fungi, they have the well developed nucleus. They could be either unicellular or multicellular. That means they have one cell or they have more than one cell. Their body do not carry chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a colorful thing which stayed in the trees and it's helped to make color. And they are saprophytic. Saprophytic means they collect their food from the dead plants or animals, dead organisms. Basically, they collect their food from the dead organism. That's why they are called saprophytic. Examples are yeast, mushroom and penicillium. Kingdom number 4, plantae. Usually they can prepare their own food, so they are autophytic. When any plants can make their own food by themselves, they are called autophytic. You have to know different things. That is, here fungi is a saprophytic and kingdom 4, plantae, they are autophytic. Autophytic means they can prepare their food by themselves. They can be unicellular or multicellular. Like fungi, they are also unicellular or multicellular. The cell wall is made of cellulose. Cellulose is one kind of thing which helps to make cell wall. It's like some things of glucose. They have well developed nucleus. Example: fern, mango, blackberry, jackfruit. Plantae means the plant of jackfruit tree, mango tree, they are in this kingdom, plantae. Kingdom number 5, Animalia. Animal world. These organisms have no cell wall which is composed of cellulose. Usually their cells have no of plastics. So they are dependent on plant directly or indirectly. Example: fish, bird, cow, man, etc. We, human being, man, cow, dog, cat, they are in the kingdom of Animalia. But in their cell, they have no plastic. Plastic is one thing. It helps to, with the help of sunlight, it helps to photosynthesis and make their own food. basically plastid have plastid stay in the trees or plants, but in human body or in animal's body it is always absent. So they are dependent on plant directly. So Animalia cannot, in the kingdom of the Animalia, those animals who are in this Animalia kingdom, they cannot make their own food. They have to depend on the plants for their food. Lesson number 3, non-flowering plants. In our previous classes, we also read about flowering plants and non-flowering plants. Now we discuss about the non-flowering plants, the plants which have no flower. There are some plants that never bear flowers and fruits. These plants reproduce by forming spores. Spores are very teeny things which moving by the air, and we cannot see it in our naked eyes. With the help of microscope we can see spores. These plants are called non-flowering plants. This is a group of plants, many of whose bulk is not divisible into root, stem and leaf. These plants are Thallophyta, example Spirogyra. Normally, a plant's body is divided into some parts like stem, root, leaves, branches and many other parts. But in the plants who are non-flowering and Spirogyra, they have no root, stem and leaves. Their body is not divided into these parts, but they are plants also. They are called Thallophyta. Again, some plants have a stem and leaves, but they have no roots like plants. Instead of roots, they have rhizobite. Some plants have leaves and stem, but they have no root, and they have the rhizobite, which help them to stand on the soil. They are green and autophytic. Autophytic means they can make their own food by themselves. They grow on moist soil and old walls and wooden logs. They are also found floating on water. Usually they grow on old walls so densely that they look like a thick carpet, example moss. You see in the old trees or old houses, there are lots of green plants in the wall or in the buildings. This and like a carpet, green carpet, they are moss. Ferns are the most advanced form of plants. Ferns also a non-flowering plant. Ferns are the most advanced form of plants among the non-flowering plants. Their body is divided into root, stem and leaves. They grow on damp old walls and shadow places. Example, dheki shak. Dheki shak is one kind of shark which found in the basically in village. It is very rare in our town. When you go to village home, then you can search it for see dheki shak. It's advanced form of plants which have a stem, root and leaves, but they are non-flowering. Their body is divided into root, stem and leaves. They grow on damp walls and shadow places. Here is the picture of two plants, like one is moss and this one is fern, and here is the picture of algae also. My dear students, hope you will understand our today's class. Your homework is you have to read this chapter properly and write 5 MCQ, find out 5 MCQ from this chapter. Your homework is MCQ from this chapter. I hope you can do this properly and submit it on due time. Stay home, stay safe and keep abide by your parents. Assalamu alaikum.